All right, here's me sitting in my room and thinking out loud. I live in Moscow, and I came across an article about one of the recent executions in the USA by nitrogen hypoxia, where inert um, nitrogen gas is actually being put into the human body with very low or absence of oxygen, right? So the person dies in as a result of that. So after some point, you violently see some shakings. It could depend from persons to person. Some persons could violently shake after some minutes and then give up the ghost. And then I think he was a murder convict, and he's been in prison for years before he was finally executed. All right. And then I thought about it this way. I mean, there are lots of serial cases, lots of murder cases, lots of maybe rape cases, for example. And I haven't really probably heard much of that here in Moscow, let's say Russia in general. And I don't know why exactly that is. Probably maybe I'm not so, I don't really check out their stuff that much. But I mean, if it's something quite popular, I mean, it's going to be heard somehow. And then I started to do some checking to see, like, basically the murder cases we've had here, serial murder cases, and the rest of the things we've had here. I discovered that they're probably um they may be much per se, but here's the interesting thing: is these guys are not really bent on what I say capital punishment, like executioning and all of that, like direct this thing. Probably they rather keep them in jail for a long period of time. And I had to confirm that by reaching out to one of my acquaintances who was actually an investigator on the police force here in Moscow, and did ask some questions, right? And then I noticed, okay, these guys have, I don't know what to say, how to put it, because I've interacted with some of the police officers before. Most probably it wouldn't be that their focus is on other things primarily, but they're doing their job. They catch criminals quite easily, very well. They do their job. Because recently had a theft case, and then over some, call it a month or two thereabout, the guy was caught and he had to refund. He returned the phone and some money on top, right? So basically, it was about like more these murder cases, serial killer cases, rape cases. Now, and I discovered that most of these things are actually more popular in other cities, not necessarily say Moscow, Petersburg, the major cities, right? They are mostly popular in other cities. So I checked up one guy. His name was Mikhail, who had over 50 bodies, more like counts per se, of people that he's killed over, say, some 8 years. And I come to see it this way. Most times, it's always hard to trace some of these things as to know why this happened, because the thing is, I feel over the long run some of these things are caused by natives themselves. For example, it's winter and then some guy goes out and drinks to stupor, and then comes out, loses his mind, and then he just lays there in the snow and then he's gone. So most of these things are actually caused by people themselves. So when they see these kind of things, they probably don't relate them to patterns per se. They just relate them to, okay, natural causes, he did it, so okay, fine, it's left for him. You get. So the police kind of gives you that kind of, yeah, it's your fault kind of vibe, and then you probably just end up going without any, would I say, revenge per se. All right. So I now discovered that this Mikhail guy has over 50 um victims per se over like an 8 year period. Then there's another one I saw. She's actually female serial killer. She's had lots of victims as well. And yeah, I think one thing I noticed is that the patterns are quite similar, right? Bad parenting, how they grew up, the workplaces they grew up, and etc. But my question was actually this, which I didn't even get answers. What exactly do they do to such people when they're found? Because I don't know if these guys have like an execution whatever plan, but maybe you'd let me know basically if you're Russian or something. What exactly do they do to people who are like who have had these serial killers, serial rapists, and all of that? because it's quite more common in the US. Like, I mean, this year, just by is it this year or last year? I think this year 4 persons or more by nitrogen hypoxia. Not talk of lethal injection and other execution methods, right? So that's what I actually discovered, and I'm like, okay, yeah, these things are actually quite prevalent here. The truth is, Russia is more like a low-key US, right? But it's just that the things that have been done here, like, pretty much low-key. I mean, there's still respect for the law, and there's still that fear that when anything goes south, you're just gonna be gone, like, gone for it, right? You might not necessarily have to, you might not go through the normal legal processes. Probably they could just, yeah. So that's it. Just had to share my thoughts, and yeah, let me know what you guys think about it though.